Hello all sentient beings and welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, where we talk about all news, comics, and media related to the... On this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode, we review Transformers Back to the Future Issue 2. We watch a new Transformers Cyberverse Christmas stop-motion video, and we go over new promotional material for Netflix's War for Cybertron Earthrise. Today is Friday, December 25th, 2020, and this is episode 213 of Transmissions Alt Mode.
Welcome to Transmissions Alt Mode, the podcast that tried and failed to get Mark Hamill to reprise his role as Megatronus on our show. He was doing something else. I'm your host, Charles, a.k.a. Big C, and I'm joined by the excellent Transmissions team. Jeremy, a.k.a. Yakko.
Hey, how's it going? Merry Christmas.
The amazing and awesome producer and editor, Mike.
You can't afford Mark Hamill. All you get is me.
And Daryl, the Cybertronian beast.
Hello. This is the. Can we get a Mark Hamill impersonator? Maybe a Bark Bamel.
But I was going to go to Tashi Station and pick up some power converters. No?
I don't get
No?
it. I have no idea why Mark Hamill's in the news right now.
All right, as always, we start out the show by thanking our donatrons, those lovely people who give us money on Patreon and PayPal. Thank you for continuing to support the show. You're our Christmas present all year long, and Merry Christmas to everyone. This show is up on Christmas Day, so hopefully everyone is having fun opening their presents. Of course, you've got this in the background instead of Christmas music, right? You're listening to Alt Mode. Listening to us talk about the Transformers comics.
Did you get the one from me? You're hopefully they're like tuning out their family.
Oh,
Look, way in the back. There's one for me, way in the back.
you could just send that along. That'd be great.
If you'd like to become a donatron and support the show, just go to transmissionspodcast.com/support. You can find links to sign up on Patreon or PayPal. You can also help us out by buying merchandise from our TeePublic store at transmissionspodcast.com/shop and our friend K-Girl store at tpublic.com/user/superstark. Anything you buy from our link at TeePublic will help out the show, so you can buy all their shirt designs, but the transmission stuff is pretty cool too. So just go to transmissionspodcast.com/shop. We've got the Toy Hacks $10 giveaway coming up for December. We're going to do that drawing in January, so you've still got a little bit of time to send in your entry. If you're a donatron, you're already automatically entered, but if you are not and you still want to enter, just send an email to contest@transmissionspodcast.com. and send a picture of the Transformer toy you'd like to get labels for. We'll probably be doing the drawing on January 3rd when we record the show that Sunday, so you've got a little bit of time. And next Monday, right after Christmas, we've got the uncut version of Empire of Rust episode 39. These bots were made for stomping. So this is the Donatron exclusive director's commentary for Empire of Rust episode 39, which just came out this week. Mike, anything special in this Empire of Rust uncut version?
Well, I'm not gonna spoil anything because we didn't spoil anything on the toy show. But I will say this is the most Transformers episode that you'll probably hear, and we really get into like a lot of like the finer detail of kind of what it means. I can't spoil it. Something really awesome happened at the end of last episode. Now we're gonna deal with what all that means and how just all that works with like all the players we have. Oh, awesome.
You guys have an animation error?
Effectively, yes. Pat got colored wrong.
All right. Well, yeah, look forward to that for our donatrons on our Patreon or our PayPal. We have a Dropbox link for all your PayPal subscribers. Check that out. Okay, we don't have any comics news this week, so we're going to move right into our comic review. This week, we are reviewing Transformers Back to the Future #2. Written by Kevin Scott, art by Juan Samu, colors by David Garcia Cruz, letters by Neil Uyatake, and editors David Marriott and Chase Maratz. We've got 3 covers. Cover A is art by Juan Samu and colors by David Garcia Cruz. It shows Gigawatt and Marty and Doc Brown flying through time. Cover B is art by Philip Murphy and shows Marty being chased by Starscream with Gigawatt following close behind. Oh, chased by Starscream, Thundercracker, and Skywarp, with Gigawatt also hopefully defending him. We're not sure. It looks like a cassette is falling out of Marty's Walkman. Could that be Laserbeak? I'm not sure. And the retailer incentive cover is art by Dan Schoening and colors by Luis Antonio Delgado. And this shows Marty and Gigawatt looking over a devastated Hill Valley and Marty's neighborhood. So, Daryl, which of these covers do you like?
These are all great covers. I'm really happy with every single one of them. I mean, man, cover A is just really super dynamic. I really like the look of that one. I have a feeling that cover B is a continuation of cover B from issue 1. And I won't know until I get them both side by side, but and the RI is just phenomenal with all the graffiti and everything. But I think cover A is probably the one I'm going to go with. Just the real dynamic pose and like the superhero pose, and everybody just looking great. It looks awesome.
All right, Mike, which cover are you picking?
This was a bit of a tough choice for me. While I do agree that all the covers have a really good kind of action scene to it and really good composition to it, it does suffer, I think, a little bit from like some sameness in terms of how like, the overall look is. Just like every cover has that kind of very animated feel to it, and that's what I mean when I say like the sameness to it. It has a very, very similar tone to all of them. That being said, I think I'll go with cover B just because of all of the little call-outs that I see in the actual cover. And I love it when there's a whole bunch of stuff that happens on the cover that actually happens within the issue. So that's always neat. The other two, they're good. Don't get me wrong. But with all those like little extra things in there, that kind of gets me. So yeah, go on cover B.
All right, Jeremy, which one are you picking?
This was a hard one for me, choosing between the RI and cover A. I mean, like Daryl said, all 3 covers are good. I just think like the RI has the way that it goes from like the red at the bottom of the fire up to the purple sky, but I really think it is the kind of time travel dynamicness of cover A that I would have to go with. I think it looks great.
All right. Well, I'm going to pick the retailer incentive. I really think that image is the most striking for me, and I just like the graffiti uh, and the devastation in the background with Marty and Gigawatt there, and I just think it's a really nicely posed image. So yeah, I guess we've got a. I guess with 50% of the vote, cover A wins with Daryl and Jeremy, but a bit of a split decision this week. All right, so let's get into the story. After Marty awoke to a nightmare Hill Valley 1985, where the Decepticons rule the world, he was rescued from Starscream by Doc's familiar time-traveling DeLorean. Only it turns out the DeLorean was not Doc's original time vehicle. It turned out to be another of the transforming giant alien robots. Marty, of course, doesn't trust this bot and uses his skateboard to defend himself. The robot tries to explain that his name is Gigawatt and he's an Autobot from the future, but Marty isn't listening and whacks Gigawatt's outstretched hand with his skateboard. Suddenly, Marty and Gigawatt have bigger problems as Starscream, covered in manure, is back online and pissed. He blasts Gigawatt in the back and then closes in for another shot. Starscream hesitates for a moment because he thinks he recognizes Gigawatt. Gigawatt uses the moment to transform into his hovercar mode and rams Starscream in the chest, knocking him to the ground. But Starscream shrugs off the attack and kicks Gigawatt back. Marty sees the tide turning against Gigawatt and decides the enemy of my enemy is my friend. It's not much, but Marty throws his skateboard at Starscream in a feeble attempt to defend Gigawatt. Starscream laughs at the useless attack, but to everyone's surprise, the skateboard transforms in midair into a new robot and uses his momentum to kick Starscream in the face. This robot is another Autobot named Skills, who had been hiding in plain sight before Marty picked him up. Starscream is down for the moment, but it is still very much online and angry. Gigawatt quickly transforms into his hovercar mode and tells his two new friends to get in. Gigawatt activates his time circuits and they escape into a time portal back to the future. They arrive in the sky above Hill Valley in the year 2015. The place looks devastated after 30 years of Decepticon rule. Gigawatt flies into them. Gigawatt flies them to an old mine that serves as the secret base of the Autobot Resistance in 2015. That resistance is led by current Autobot leader, Rodimus Prime. Gigawatt tells his commander the bad news. His mission was a failure and his flux capacitor is malfunctioning. Marty angrily demands these robots help him stop the Decepticons and set things right, but the Autobots seem to have lost hope. But when Rodimus hears that this human's name is Marty, he asks Gigawatt if this is the same Marty McFly from the data files. Gigawatt confirms this, and Rodimus displays a hollow projection of Doc Brown from his hand, asking if Marty knows this human. Marty is surprised to see the image of his friend and asks if they know where he is. Gigawatt answers no they don't, but they need to find him, because according to their data, this whole screwed up timeline is his fault. Gigawatt fills Marty in on the details. When Doc Brown traveled to the future of 2015, he had a stowaway, the Decepticon Rumble. Rumble was hiding in cassette mode under the seat after losing the battle with Bumblebee in 1985. Rumble transforms to robot mode and reveals himself, but he's badly damaged. Doc thinks Rumble is a new robot from the future, and Rumble doesn't correct him. Living up to his name as a Decepticon, Rumble deceives Doc and pretends to be his friend. Doc offers to help repair Rumble, and Rumble becomes Doc's assistant, working on the time vehicle with him and learning all its secrets. Of course, Rumble eventually turns on Doc and contacts Megatron to come and retrieve the time machine. Megatron arrives, but he's in worse shape than Rumble was. After 30 years, the Autobots and Optimus Prime proved too strong and all but defeated the Decepticons in this timeline. But Rumble isn't going to let things end like this. He pushes Doc aside and squeezes into the driver's seat of the time machine and goes back to change history. Rumble arrives in the year 1974 and forces a middle-aged Biff Tannen to be his human slave. Biff works for 10 years, stockpiling Energon cubes, waiting for the Decepticons to awaken at Mount St. Hilary. Rumble brings them to the Ark, and they get to Teletran 1. Rumble overrides the computer and programs it to only revive the Decepticons. When Megatron comes online, Rumble explains that he's from a future where the Autobots have won. Megatron vows to stop this by murdering the Autobots here and now before they awake. He blasts the dormant body of Optimus Prime, ensuring he will never rise up against him. Now the Decepticon victory is assured. Biff sees that now there are two Rumbles, the one from the alternate future of 2015 and the one that was just reactivated in the Ark. Biff, not being a theoretical physicist, is confused. Megatron sees no need for two Rumbles and, displaying classic Decepticon gratitude, destroys the one from the future who just ensured their conquest. Rodimus Prime continues the story, noting that a few Autobots did survive from the Ark, but not enough to stop the Decepticons. Marty asks how do they know all this information about history being changed since they didn't have a time machine themselves. Gigawatt answers that he was ordered by Megatron to extract all the knowledge of the future from Rumble's memory banks after he was destroyed. Gigawatt explains his shameful truth. He used to be a Decepticon. Gigawatt could no longer stomach Megatron's cruelty towards the humans after they had won the war and conquered the Earth. Gigawatt had had enough and decided to use the time machine to put right what had gone so wrong. But Megatron never left the time machine unguarded, so Gigawatt scanned the vehicle and converted his own alt mode into a copy of Doc Brown's time-traveling DeLorean. The Decepticons realized what Gigawatt was doing and attacked him as he was escaping in his new form. He managed to evade his attackers except Megatron. Megatron fired a blast from his fusion cannon, and the blast pierced Gigawatt's flux capacitor, damaging it severely. Despite this wound, Gigawatt managed to escape, but with his flux capacitor broken, Gigawatt could not properly calibrate his time circuits when jumping through time. When he landed in 1985, he was actually aiming for 1974 to stop Rumble from changing the timeline in the first place. Rodimus Prime asks Marty if he can help them repair Gigawatt's flux capacitor, but Marty tells them he doesn't have the knowledge or ability. They need to find Doc Brown, but they have no idea where to start. Back in Hill Valley, still in 2015, the now elderly George and Lorraine McFly are still working in the Decepticon work camp. Out of nowhere, a dog with a stopwatch around its neck runs into George, causing him to drop a box filled with components. Unfortunately, the Constructicon Scrapper notices the humans and orders them to get back to work. Lorraine defends her husband, saying he's exhausted and needs rest. But for Scrapper, the sentence for unproductive humans is death. Scrapper prepares to blast the worthless fleshlings, but suddenly he is zapped from behind by a powerful electrical blast. The dog's owner, Doc Brown, has arrived, carrying a makeshift Decepticon-sized taser rifle to defend his fellow humans and fight back against the Decepticons with the power of science. To be continued. So I am enjoying this crossover. I think when we reviewed the first issue, it was a good start. This issue gives us a little bit more of the backstory, tells us how the timeline went wrong, and I like the way the story is going. And I was excited to see Rodimus Prime in the future. I thought that was a nice choice to make the Autobot leader of the future Rodimus Prime, which that tracks with Transformers the movie, of course. It's also funny to see how the future is 2015 when we're in 2020. So it's I guess hindsight is 2020. We still don't have any flying cars. Where are our flying cars?
We've got one.
I don't think 2020 deserves flying cars.
But yeah, I think overall this is a solid issue. I'm enjoying this crossover. I think the art is really good. I like the cartoony style. I think it meshes the Transformers and the Back to the Future characters pretty well. I'm curious why they brought this random skateboard skills character in. Is that I don't. The only skateboard character I remember is from Transformers Armada. I don't know if we had ever had another Transformers skateboard character, but it was just a weird addition to their list of characters here. But yeah, I'm enjoying this. Daryl, what did you think of this issue?
I mean, I'm really enjoying this a lot. The amount of like time jumping, sciencey stuff is just fantastic. I love the fact that the Autobots in this timeline are just getting their asses kicked. Bumblebee in this timeline is missing an eye. And that's just great. When I mean, not that I want Bumblebee to missing an eye, but just like they're damaged, they're missing parts and they're really beat up, and instead of just having it just kind of hanging there or just kind of, whatnot, they've put a patch on it and it's just some kind of like, riveted piece of metal to his head. And I think that's awesome.
And his arm is practically torn
and his
open.
leg's torn open as well. So I like that a lot. When we see the alternate timeline Megatron come through, he's in really rough shape. Like he's really falling apart. So I like it how there's, you really can't have one or the other. One of the timelines, somebody's getting beat. And yeah, so I think it's a great story so far. I'm really enjoying the fun. The art's great. I don't mind skills when this new character kind of showed up. I think we kind of speculated on it last time. It's been a while, but because we had seen these like lines on the skateboard, we kind of speculated that the skateboard might be a character. And yeah, there you go. It is. I don't think we're going to see a collaborative skills figure, but I mean, whatever it might be. 2021 can
Transformation might be a bit difficult.
Yeah. Well, no, I think they'd use one of those, one of the ones from the previous skateboard ones. Armada.
Armada.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it right now, but I
Armada
haven't no luck.
Minicon.
Yeah, it was a Minicon.
Shore Shock?
I don't know its name.
No, it's like Grinder or something like that.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that's right.
But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying the series. And yeah, I don't. They don't seem to have that many characters in this, right? So like Transformers characters, they seem to be keeping the cast pretty small. So yeah, I'm really excited for the next issue. I hope it doesn't take 2 months like the last one did.
Yep. All right, Mike, what did you think of this issue?
Really interesting. I will say I'm not a fan of like the super cartoony style on the humans, because it doesn't seem like that kind of style is really carrying through on the Transformers, so it feels a little inconsistent at times. Like the giant faces, giant expressions on all the people. So, I mean, overall, I have no problem with it. I wouldn't say it's like the greatest story that I've ever read. There's certainly some kind of little weirdness on the plot here and there, but I mean, overall, it's a decent story and a kind of a good thing. I do like that they kind of tie up a lot of the loose ends that you would expect them to just kind of leave open in the middle of the story, like when Megatron destroys the future Rumble. Like, nope, not sticking. We're not dealing with you for the rest of the time. And it kind of comes back like later on too, because like Rumble pretty much just betrayed Megatron in his timeline, and then Megatron just betrays him. So it's like, okay. I know that this whole series was written specifically for Gigawatt, but still, I find it a little weird that no explanation as to where he came from. He's just all of a sudden on the arc, and then that's it. Now he's getting rebuilt. Is it? Are we supposed to believe he was a Decepticon to start with? That's why he's getting rebuilt?
That was the implication. Like he's apparently just a low-level Decepticon grunt. He's a tech. He was tasked with maybe he was like a Decepticon technician. He was on the original Arc boarding party attacking the Autobots and just got reactivated with the other Decepticons.
But you see him when they're Rumble's reactivating, like having Teletran reactivate him. Gigawatt is right there next to Megatron.
Yeah, I see it. Decepticon IT specialist, huh? Yeah, I mean that. And again, I know why he's in there. It's because the story's written specifically for him, so he needs to be in there because that's what we're trying to sell here. But yeah, it just feels a little weird that it's there. The addition of skills, I'm going to kind of echo you on this one. It's just he comes out of nowhere. It's like where did you come from? How are you here? Why are you here? I need a bit more of an explanation than just, hey, I'm your skateboard. So I hope in the next couple of issues they do resolve that and give a little bit of backstory to Skids. I don't hate him as a character. I need to know where he comes from.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
well, yeah, that's right. What was it the car there, Shadow Striker or something? She's in there too. Or no, Flame War, not Shadow Striker.
Flame War,
yeah, the motorcycle. That's another one that's just like, hey, here's this new character that was not in the original series, but here she is now. I think the last thing I can mention is like, and again, I know that it was written for him, but it's a little strange, or a little weird that, hey, Gigawatt, this character just happens to have a very similar design to this vehicle that's a time machine. Who knew? No one is surprised at all when he copies the vehicle mode. But it kind of raises the question, like, that if they are studying it and trying to like duplicate it or replicate it, why don't they just have one of the Decepticons scan it and become that vehicle?
Yeah, I mean, you'd think all the Decepticons could do that. Then they'd all be equipped with time travel. I don't know.
Oh, but Gigawatt's the only one that had a similar bot mode for it. I got you.
It's using G1 cartoon logic.
Yep.
Maybe it takes. Well, we know it takes a lot of energy to do a time jump, and maybe it's there's a risk of burning out your spark if you incorporate the time circuits.
See, I'm actually fine with that. If they specifically say that in upcoming issues, I'd be 100% on board with it.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, it seems like I'm coming down kind of harshly on it, but I'm really not. It's a fun story. I like it. There's a couple of like things I have issues with here and there, but overall, it certainly is a fun story. Doc Brown is really a badass in that last panel too.
The craziest look on his face.
He's been living in a world of Decepticon rule for what, like 50 years now? You'd be kind of crazy too, wouldn't you?
No.
Yep.
No. All right.
Daryl wouldn't change.
We'll put that to the test. Don't worry. All right. I'm done.
Okay.
Just thought I'd tell you so you know when to start talking there, Charles.
Thanks. That's helpful. All right, Jeremy.
Your editor can cut that.
Charles, this is multi-track. You can just keep talking and ignore it.
All right, Jeremy, what did you think of this issue?
I thought it was a lot of fun. I hate that it's been so long since the last issue because I'd forgotten that Doc Brown hadn't even really been in the story until the last panel. I'm like, oh yeah, him. But I'm really enjoying just how it's kind of telling its own version of G1, kind of mixed with Back to the Future. I love that Gigawatt was originally a Decepticon, because I saw something online recently where someone was like they were just kind of speculating, like, all of the collaboratives have been Autobots so far. What would you do for a Decepticon? And here it turns out Gigawatt was a Decepticon originally. So that was cool. I thought the art was really good. I don't mind the cartoony style. The Transformers were all done really well, in my opinion. And I think the humans are kind of in style with the Back to the Future comics that they've been doing. One thing I thought was interesting when I first saw Rodimus Prime, it reminded me of kind of the old Marvel UK style a little bit. Just, I don't know if it's his proportions or the coloring or what, but that's kind of what I got. But I really like that they had him, and it is kind of, he's the leader now because everyone else is pretty much dead. And this is just, I don't know. It makes sense. If you're a big Back to the Future fan, everything makes sense with the Back to the Future logic in terms of time travel and stuff. And I really love that. And I can't wait to see what the future Doc is going to be doing. Cause it's kind of like in Back to the Future 3, Old West Doc kind of, he had that big sniper rifle he had made, and this is kind of like the future version of that, where he's, learning how to survive in this future time. So I am having a lot of fun with this. You don't want to take it too seriously, and it's just been a blast. And, you get your mustache trolling Megatron, who's wearing a pretty kind of badass looking cape. He's incinerating humans, and, I think this is great. So I'm looking forward to the next issue whenever it comes out.
Cool. And hopefully we won't have to wait so long. Hopefully we'll get the next issue in January. All right. Well, that is our review of Transformers Back to the Future issue number 2. So we will move on to Transformers Media News.
All right. In media news this week, we've got a couple things, not much, but a couple. We've got another one of those Transformers Cyberverse stop motion videos. This one's a Christmas one, and it's really kind of fun. The Autobots are decorating, and the Decepticons kind of don't like it. So take a look at that. It's done very well, and it's nice and funny, and I assume the kids will love it. So get it on your phone and show it to some kids, and just random kids, just any kids. Just show it to them and say, "Do you like that? Now get in the van."
Oh, geez.
Just kidding. Don't do that.
You're getting super dark on Christmas Day, Daryl.
You can say that to your own kids, right? Get in the van, you stupid kids. You gotta go to Grandma's house, but don't go to Grandma's house because it's COVID. But any other year it would be fine. Anyway, it's a fun video. Take a look at it.
Just stop talking, Daryl. Just stop talking.
But this is my section. In gaming news, we've got Transformers Battleground. Justine Raymond from did some user interface art. So we've got some art for that, and you get a picture of Optimus and what's her nuts? The other one, I don't remember what this character's name is. Starts with an S, I'm pretty sure.
Slipstream?
No, it's the car. It's she's
Charles
Bumblebee's
is having a problem,
nemesis.
then I'm feeling much better about myself right now.
You're in the clear.
Shadow Striker?
Yes, that's it.
There you
Shadow
go.
Striker.
Oh my God, Mike got it. Wow. There you
Bam,
go.
Charles.
Yeah.
You
Well
are the
done.
new Charles, Mike.
That's all it
Torch
took.
is passed.
Well, you got just you. I mean, we have to have a ceremony right now, but I mean, I now present you with 2 doctorates, and you now have to do the review of the comics every week.
That's fair.
But yeah, so take a look at these drawings. They're done very well, very much in the style of Cyberverse. Obviously, it's part of the game. So, yeah, cool. Moving on, we have, like with Siege, when Siege was just about to launch, we've got Earthrise about to launch, and Netflix is releasing a bunch of posters for this series. So we've got a whole new bunch of posters coming out. Let's see here. So the first one is showing Optimus, and it's got the arc on it, and yeah, I think this one has made the rounds pretty regularly. The second one is the other side of that coin. So Megatron and his ship, and that's
Nemesis.
Yes, Nemesis. Didn't know whether I was supposed to say it.
It's in G1. It's the same ship.
So that's there. And the third poster, we've got, looks like we've got Double Dealer on here. Plus we've got some other characters. There's a Quintus on there, so that's pretty cool. And
Quintesson.
and another ship. So, that's pretty neat. And the fourth and final promotional image is not a poster, just a promo image. This is just an all-out battle scene. We get to see a whole bunch of characters in this. This looks pretty awesome. So, looking forward to this series. Yeah. So, take a look at these images, and I mean, with the Siege series, the posters that they released had like hidden messages in them. I don't know if there's anything in here. I really haven't looked at them that closely, but fill your boots. Go through these things with a fine-tooth comb and see if there's anything in there. Remember that Earthrise is debuting on Wednesday, December 30th. So 5 days, and you'll get to watch it. And we are going to have our review on the 28th, our spoiler-free review on the 28th, and we're going to have it with Ant from TFU.info. So that'll be fun. We'll be joined by a fun guest, a very knowledgeable guest in Ant. So, look forward to that. And that is it for media news.
All right, and we will finish up the show with feedback. And he answered the call. He answered our prayers. We've got a voicemail from John 4X Levengood.
Yeah.
Hey guys, John 4X Levengood here again. So, getting you guys an email, because I haven't heard my voice for a while. Just joking there. Anyhow, I wanted to leave my feedback on Transformers Cyberverse, especially those episodes that you guys reviewed, 9 through 12. So I still think Cyberverse, as far as the animated show goes, is probably one of the better shows that we've had in a while. I would say since Prime. But that being said, I think my favorite part, honestly, was the team up between the Autobots and Decepticons. Not just the small team, which was excellent as well, but the full on team up. It shows how how good the Transformers can be when they aren't fighting with each other, and that Civil War really did weaken both sides. Being able to, because the immense amount of teamwork and power that they were able to throw at the Sharkticons on the assault is very impressive, and it just shows you how strong the Transformers as a race are when they work together. And it's just one of my favorite things about the show. So anyhow, we'll catch you next time. Bye.
Thanks, John. And yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the Cyberverse, it showed us I mean, not just season 3 in particular, but the whole series showed us a really wide range of Transformers stories and character development and growth. We had season 1 kind of giving us a flashback of the origins of the war, and then season 2 had pretty much a modern G1ification of the show with Autobots and Decepticons fighting each other, and then we even got a little bit of space travel, and then season 3 has the final battle between the Autobots and Decepticons at the very beginning, but then you have this whole Quintesson fight against the Quintessons, not Quintessons, the Quintessons, and you see the Autobots and Decepticons team up and work together, and I think it's a great range of different Transformers stories you can tell, and even there's even more of that later in the season, even after the Quintessons are dealt with. So I agree that Cyberverse is one of the better Transformers shows we've had in a while, and I'm glad we got it out there. Mike, have you had a chance to watch all of Cyberverse? What did you think of it?
I did. I think I finished it up a few months ago, and yeah, I was actually pretty happy with it. I had missed out on the first 2 seasons, like as they were coming out. I did eventually see them, but it was much later. And yeah, I really enjoyed season 3. I do like stories like that where like you start off kind of in the middle of the action, and you have to and you as a viewer have to figure out like what happened, like where are we, what's been going on, and why is it different. So seeing that kind of like that final battle happen right at the beginning, and then jumping right into that like kind of Matrix homage, that was really nice. And I know you guys haven't talked about some like the latest, like the later episodes, but it does get a little bit more into an anthology, kind of a like just single episodes, like an episode of the week kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, like all the characters they introduce and all like the single episodes they had coming out, all of it, it's pretty solid. So yeah, I think they did a really good job of it. I really do enjoy it, and I wish they would just, I don't know, like put it out like on. I wish they would just put it out as just one kind of long thing, just like one movie or something. Because I think if they just get rid of like the opening and closings and just let it run all the way, I mean, that's what, like 2 hours? That's it? Like 2.5 hours at most? So, yeah. I mean, everything is kind of to the point where you can do that too. So I kind of wish they would. But yeah. If anything, that's like the one thing I really dislike with the series is the 10-minute episodes. It's like, come on, guys. Just do a real episode here. Come on.
Well, there is going to be I think a couple of Cyberverse movies coming out eventually, maybe next year.
I hope so.
So yeah, maybe that'll satisfy your desire for that, and it'll be new Cyberverse content. So that'll be good.
Oh wait, like new stuff, not just deals have packaged into a movie length thing?
No, they announced two, like, was it 2 or 3 new movies?
It was, I think, 2 movies.
Oh. Well,
So
then.
That's what happens when you don't edit the show, so you don't listen.
Hey, wait a second. You know what? If you pay me double, I'll do it twice as often.
I think we can come to an arrangement. All right, Jeremy, what did you think of Cyberverse in general?
I mean, I have to agree with John that it's one of the best shows we've had recently. I might even agree since Prime. I mean, outside of the Netflix stuff, which I am also enjoying, the RID cartoon that followed Prime, I just never really could get into that much. But with how Cyberverse is like pulling from all these different things, particularly a lot of the comics, it's been a lot of fun. So yeah, it'd be nice if they had longer episodes, but that's what the kids have no attention spans these days. So you do what you can.
Freaking kids.
I know. I mean, come on.
And
Blame
Daryl,
the kids for everything.
Yeah.
Well, we're old now. That's what we do, right? That's what old people do. Blame the younger generation. Daryl, was there enough action in it and fighting in Cyberverse for you?
I really enjoyed Cyberverse. I thought, like you guys did, that it had a great bit of storytelling as well as the fighting and stuff. And I loved the Matrix pull, like the with the episodes that we just covered. It was a great series, and just the amount of lore that they pulled out of the More Than Meets the Eye Lost Light series was just fun, you know. I don't mind the 10-minute episodes either, though. You know, I thought it was going to be something that was going to bother me at the start, and it kind of really grew on me, especially being that we have to review them now. You know, 10-minute episodes are really easy to kind of get through. So, yeah, I don't mind. Plus, I probably have a very short attention span myself.
Well, then, you're pretty much a child, aren't you?
What was that?
How was your Christmas there, kitty?
I do. I mean, I would prefer longer episodes, but I do agree that the 10-minute episodes, they did a great job of packing a lot of story into each of those episodes. Like there wasn't a lot of like fluff or stuff that, you know, seemed like filler in any of these Cyberverse episodes. Every episode was pretty meaty, had a lot of story and development. So I think I guess the shortened time span focuses your goals in your mind to put the episode together. All right, John, thanks for sending in your voicemail. As always, we love hearing from you. And that will do it for this episode of Transmissions Alt Mode. Again, we want to give a Masterpiece Donatron shout out to all of our Masterpiece Donatrons, which currently is John 4X Levingood. So thank you, John, for continuing to support the show. And we are really happy to have you on the team. All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Later.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this episode of Transmissions. But just because this episode is over doesn't mean the Transformers fun has to stop. Join us and other Transformers fans on our Discord chat server by visiting transmissionspodcast.com/discord. If you would like to learn more about how you could support the Transmissions Podcast, just visit transmissionspodcast.com/support. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you again next week.